Good. Okay. Well, let's start with meditation. So take your attention inside, deep into your belly, and feel your energy follow your attention as you go down to your belly with your breath. Home base, safe place, as my friend Mika Karu says. Mm. And now allow your attention to gently drop all the way down to the center of the earth. And whatever you feel is okay. Your access will improve over time. It's true for all of us, and our own beingness has its own pace to reveal our inner source. But it is the continuous work, as my teacher used to say, depth over time, that creates these pathways. They're already there, but it makes us aware of them. So attention deep, deep into the center of the earth and our connectedness to the root system. Our own and that of the earth itself. And we live on this planet, we are interdependent with it and all of its resources. Sadly, denial doesn't change that fact. And now allow your attention to rise up out the top of your head. And now feel yourself being cleansed by a shower of white light that will take away anything that we would like to release. And so all that which is no longer of benefit to us, which doesn't serve the whole, we allow that to leave. We invite it to go so that we can embody our highest best, which is in alignment with the highest best for the whole. Doesn't mean that we deny what else is there. We allow it. But we allow everything that doesn't serve to leave. Feel yourself lighten as this white light allows our energy field to change vibration, to change frequency. And as we feel our frequency changing, move to the feeling of gratitude that we have access to this practice and others like it to change our frequency. feeling that gratitude. Take your attention to your heart, right in the center of your chest. Breathe into that place. It is our breath that allows us to link to the infinite. As your heart becomes full, it naturally rises up to your throat. If you feel some constriction, swallow or clear your throat. And now we link the throat to the third eye because we want to speak wisdom. Take your attention between and behind your eyebrows to the center of your head. Feel the energy there. And now feel the whole of your central channel. And let's do 3 Om sounds. Ah, ooh, as we feel into our central channel. Ah, now holding your attention inside, gently open your eyes. Don't move your awareness. Be in both places at the same time. As you open your eyes, oh, everyone looks beautiful. How wonderful. We welcome you this morning. How may we serve? Mm. We didn't have time for our Chinese herbs this morning, so we're doing it now. So you all probably know this, but it's important that we tend to our bodies. In whatever way we perceive the deepest path to health, physical, mental, and emotional. Because everything functions best at its best. And as we age, a little bit of upkeep is required. So Rebecca just turned 69. She's aware of the chronology getting bigger and bigger. And so the attention is there. Fortunately, in the arena of prevention, understanding that that won't always be true because nobody gets out of here alive. How may we serve? We welcome your questions. This is an interesting time. As we spoke last time, astrologically, this is probably one of the hottest moments we've had in a long time. The planet Aries, which is the first house in both Vedic and Western astrology, it's ruled by Mars, and Mars is in the first house. So it's very powerful, the planet of war. And we prefer to think of it as the spiritual warrior. But often in the world, it doesn't necessarily play out that way. So we can just say that it's a very fiery energy that is empowered in the moment. And it is joined by the north node of the moon, which is called Rahu, which is the planet of, it's actually a shadow planet. It's an eclipse point. That's all beside the point. It is the energy of insatiable desire. I want what I want now. And so that is combined with the planet of war. To make it even more intense, one of the outer planets, Uranus or Uranus, however you choose to say it, the planet of sudden, unexpected events, rebellion, upheaval, electricity, again, more fire, is they're all conjoined. I think today they're in the same degree. I haven't looked. They were very close yesterday. So when you have a conjunction that powerful, it will manifest in the world. So we read yesterday there was a fire that burned down 18,000 acres in 12 hours. And so this is the energy of that kind of event. And the entire world is subject to that. And after this weekend, it will slowly get better as it has slowly intensified coming into this time. Now, Rebecca is reminding us that she's not a professional astrologer and that there's layers and layers and dimensions of energy that she's completely unaware of. So anything that she says about astrology needs to be taken with a grain of salt. At the same time, this triple conjunction is powerful and affecting all of us to greater and lesser degrees, depending on how our own astrology interacts with it. And every person has their own unique blueprint in terms of astrology. And so it will affect each of us differently. We know even from Rebecca's limited experience that twins born 5 minutes apart have different charts and different life experience because of it. Now, these are fraternal twins. She hasn't yet seen a chart of twins that came from the same egg. But it would be very hard for them to be born in the same moment. And there's always debate around almost every human being's time of birth, because does it start when you cut the cord? Does it start when you take your first breath? Does it start when you first appear? When does the birth actually happen? And the truth of the moment is that it's so spectacular, so awesome, so awe-inspiring that any human being present is distracted by that awe, no matter how many births they've been through. And so writing down the time, no matter how important you think it is, often doesn't happen, even in people who know better. Not to the second. And which second do you choose anyway? Same is true for the moment of death. Birth and death are the same. It's very much like putting a plug in a light socket and taking it out. They're the same. The energetic transmission just shifts. Energy is not created or destroyed. Ice to water to steam. And there is a great forgetting when we're born. And we will say that the most important thing to do while you're alive is to cultivate your awareness of your highest self and the highest best and what that is and what is your connection to it. And there is an understanding that the whole contains every human experience. And we get to choose every moment. We get to choose where our attention is. There are some secrets. They're not really secrets, but the tendency of human beings is to concentrate on what we don't have and what we're afraid we might get. So these things, putting our attention there is, if you understand that energy follows attention, if you think about what you don't want, the universe doesn't hear, "Don't give me." It only hears action. So whatever you put your attention on, that's what grows. So if you put your attention on fear of something, you automatically attract it. If you put your attention on the highest best, you automatically attract it. So wherever your attention is, and we get habits of attention that we don't even know we have. Some of those have to do with our blueprint. A lot of them. But if we truly cultivate within ourselves that which we desire, and the highest thing to desire is knowing God, alignment, with our source, however you want to call it, being of benefit to those around us. And we always say you cannot love if you don't experience it yourself first. How can you? How can you talk about sugar if you've never tasted it? Not that that's the best substance to refer to anymore, because it's not so healthy. So how may we serve? Yes, Andrew.
And bringing people, inviting people to the Anasa temple, disagreements or felt with that. And I guess my question is, I can access their higher self, but I don't know that they can access their higher self.
Yes, that's true. Much of the time.
So the question is,
The higher self, always think of it as it's like a watering system that drips down into the confusion. So it's a drop of light that you are gifting. And you have no idea how much power it's going to have. That's not up to you. It's not up to you. But you can make the assumption that if you hold the highest for that person, that you are drip irrigating the system. And sometimes that's the most you can do. Actually, often that's the most you can do, because we go to the Anasa temple when we can't say what we know that what we have to say will not be heard in its right context. It will be distorted in some way by the human being receiving it. So if we go to the highest and we take our highest self and speak to the highest in them, then we're doing what we can. We're doing the only thing that we can that really, really has benefit in that moment. Because when a person is so confused and distorted that they can't take feedback on a human to human level, which is when we go to the Anasa temple most of the time, then you're doing the highest best you can do for them. And there may be a time when a conversation is appropriate, but there may not. And that's also not up to you until you're approached by the other person. When things are so difficult that there is not a response in the physical world that can be made, that will not engender, especially on a day like today, a lot of flames, then all you can do is go to the Anasa temple.
I hear that, especially for people who feel like there's no possibility. But other times, there is communication, and I talk this plane, but I don't trust it.
We would say value your intuition. Stick to the highest. Some responses required cards and letters. We're using this particular language this morning because it is the inspiration from the highest in this language. And so since it's in the field, the best way to deal with it is to go to the highest expression of it and be in that, understanding that the reality of the presentation in the moment may not be that. And you are wise to stand your guard as you feel this distrust and keep yourself in the highest. That's your main focus, keeping your own energy. Because you are very, very fine. You naturally do what's in the highest for whoever's in front of you. And you've cultivated that for so long that it has become your beingness. This is a very rare thing. Who says such a thing about their partner? I've never heard it before. We've never seen it before. So you can kind of take it to the bank. So we'll say that doesn't mean relationships aren't work. They're work for everybody. But, we'll quote again, depth over time is the formula. Any questions? Did that answer your question?
So, I just-
Just keep it light. You know how to be light. Throw a joke in. Just as was done on the approach. Something light. Brenda, anything? So we'll say to you, we don't make predictions because everybody has free will. And that's the truth of it. You can't predict somebody's free will choice, even your own. That's what's the irony of it. If you can't predict your own, how can you possibly predict someone else's? As a physician, I used to, well, I still have all these ideas of what I would do if I get cancer. And over time, I have learned that I have no idea how I would decide, what I would decide in the face of real circumstance. And because you become a different person when faced with a different challenge than the imagination of it. But I do practice preventive medicine, both in my own care, and I encourage other people to do it too. But I have, healthy respect for the disease management system that our regular medical system is. It's not about healthcare, it's about disease management. And so when you understand that, you know what you're dealing with and what to expect from it. It is a disease management system with no definition of health. So if you don't know where you're going, what your goal is, then you are managing disease. You are not even attempting health. It's not part of the equation. So when you truly understand that about our medical care, in quotes, system, then it makes sense to step into treatment modalities that have existed for centuries and been perfected over time, that rely on human sensitivity that has been cultivated for decades by the practitioners who treat every person differently because every person is unique. And so they don't do one size fits all prescriptions because there's no such thing. Because we are each unique. And healthcare takes into account that diversity and allows for it and appreciates it. And that's important. It doesn't mean that there isn't a place for the disease management system. It's just important to understand what it is and what its place is. So since nobody's asking questions, we're following Rebecca's soapboxes. We are empowering them because in this particular arena, there's a lot of experience. How may we serve? So here's the thing, Andrew. You're cultivating light and fine in yourself. So why would you go toward anything that's not that? Yeah. So respect is, that's important. A lot was given. Respect is important because a lot was given. But light and fine is what you are cultivating. So stick to that. Stay there. The challenge for you is that, front and center, you are being confronted with situations that are inviting you to abandon that light and fine and go someplace else. Hold to light and fine. That is your practice. You have chosen it over and over and over for others. Now you must very consciously choose it for yourself, very consciously, and hold to it. And there's your answer. Yes, then all is clear. So when circumstances around you invite you to abandon your commitment to lighter and finer within yourself, you hold to the lighter and finer and you release that which is not. You go to the Inasa temple. You literally pray for the other person. This is what prayer is. It's when a situation pulls you to your knees and you don't know how to respond. And so you go to the Anasa temple, you make yourself light and fine. You treat yourself with love. That's what love is, light and fine. It's very, very finest frequency, this joy, peace. You take yourself to that. You're allowed that even though everybody around you is crazy. It has nothing to do with betraying the darkness of others. You don't betray yourself. You hold to your light and fine. And you go to the Anasa temple and you literally invite, you welcome everybody in the world to that light and fine. That's what prayer is. And we do it to the people we're close to because we really want them to come to this light and fine so that we can share it. You know, nobody wants anything different from that. Nobody on the planet. And yet we feel completely separate from it most of the time because we don't know that it's just a choice. It is really a choice. It's not just a choice, it's hard work to make that choice when there's chaos and destruction and just all kinds of heat. But the first thing you do is you love that which is within you, that is love itself, which is this highest and finest. This is what we mean by the highest best. You know, you pull yourself, you drop everything that's not that in you till you can feel grateful for what is available to you. And you all know it because you're all old enough to have experienced it numerous times. And you go to that place. You take your whole beingness into that gratitude. That's the quickest way in. The thing we can always be grateful for is our breath. And when that leaves us, you know, we're in the unknown. But between now and then, we have our breath. We can always be grateful for that because that's life. Breath is life. So you breathe into every cell of your body and you be grateful for that breath. You are breathing life into yourself. And that gratitude, and then the conscious release of everything that doesn't serve the highest. Just let it all go. And, you know, in this Mars, Uranus, Rahu conjunction, there's a lot of fire. You be the spiritual warrior. You use it to let go of everything that's not the highest. Because that's also part of the energy. Am I too soft? Okay. So that highest, finest energy is not weak. It's the opposite of weak. We think of love as completely flexible. And there is a lot of give to it. But there are things that break it. And we've all been broken ourselves, so we know what that feels like. We know what breaking feels like. This is part of our life experience. So we know that what's broken can be repaired. So there's always hope. So there's never an excuse to quit while we're behind. How may we serve? So there is a kind of vigilance that we begin to engage in ourselves. Because yes, it's true, love is not rigid. And so we can't just, say this is love and we're going to hold to it no matter what. Because our circumstances are changing moment to moment. The sky is changing moment to moment. The quality of the air we breathe is changing moment to moment. The quality of our environment in the big picture is changing drastically. And we are still going to say the highest thing you can do in any arena is to be the lightest, finest person you can possibly be. Because from that perspective, wisdom becomes available. And life in this time, well, we're sure it feels like this in all times. But life really needs lighter and finer. The life on this planet. And maybe it's part of a big cycle that, destruction is inevitable of everything. That's possible. Everything goes through all the stages of life and death. Why would the planet be otherwise? Why would humanity be otherwise? But still, even from a very pragmatic perspective, the highest, finest place is the best place to be always. It's the best choice. So you connect to the breath, you release everything. Release everything. Breathe into the gratitude for the breath itself. The gratitude for being a living being, even if it's just for one more moment. The living truth is that that which we are waiting for, searching for, completely wishing for is inside us in this moment. It is up to us to choose it. And release everything that's not that until that is our experience. That gratitude for this simple act of breathing. And then beyond that, we feel into the space between the breaths. And this is the infinity, the source of all that is. So pull your attention down below your belly button. Breathe into that place. Then pull your attention down into your toes. Breathe into that place. Release everything that is not serving in this moment. Just let it go. Taking inventory is like looking before you flush. Just let it all go. All the darkness, let it go. What you're interested in is what's left. And if it's not something appealing, just keep letting go. Let that white light flow through you. Let your thoughts just be there. Don't give them your attention. Give your attention to the release, not what's releasing. Just feel the flow of the white light through you, clearing anything that's ready to go. Just let it go. And the more you can let go, the better, the better, the better, the better, the better. And there's no human being that doesn't have the potential to have that experience, because it's what we're made of. We all have to breathe thousands of times in 24 hours. And one glimpse of union makes us a slave for eternity. To have that feeling, to cultivate that feeling, to be here now in that, all of it. We welcome your questions. We notice that the questions are less and less, and our dissertations are more and more. Yeah, even anything you want us to talk about, it always comes down to the same thing, probably. But it's all of interest. And maybe there's a book in there somewhere, you know. But we're quite sure it's all been said before. But the experience is so delicious. Sorry, we're having a little bit of trouble grounding at the moment. Yes, please talk to us.
This is not so much a question, but an acknowledgement of the power of the Anasa temple. I didn't really understand what it was for a while, even though I was trying to do it and asking my sister what it was, because we came in after the full-blown description of it was happening. But after a 5-year estrangement from our daughter, several visits to the Anasa temple cleared the way for the highest and best wish for her and myself to come to the fore. And it was only a few weeks after that that she showed up at our doorstep. The relationship is not completely, well, it won't go back to what it was before the split, but and right now it's kind of in a neutral state, but it's a pleasant, acceptable state, which is so entirely different from what was being experienced before. It was as if she saw me as someone who I've never been and didn't recognize. And so, I wasn't able to tell her the truth of my experience. My husband called it, because she would show up with pitchforks and torches at the gates and misinterpret everything. So I knew it wasn't possible to speak the regular way. And so Anasa Temple was my one hope. And indeed, it worked. And I just wanted to acknowledge that, because it's such a big thing in my life. I'm so grateful for that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for this report. This has also been our experience, that relationships previously mired in confusion and distortion, when we clear ourselves and our own resentment and actually take ourselves to our highest self, to the Anasa temple, and pray to the highest self, share our message to the highest self of the other. So there is this interesting thing that we'll share, that these challenges really involve us embracing our own darkness that has participated in the, we'll make it simple, tug of war with the other. When we understand that there is no other, there is just energy to be released. We are releasing our commitment to holding our end of the tug of war that has created this situation, because there is always mutual confusion of energy doing. And when then there's a certain kind of beauty and flexibility. Everything changes to embrace harmony. And it is our willingness to release our own any word that we choose demonizes that which is the confusion. And the good and evil contrast, the demon God contrast, is not the truth of it. The truth is that there is a tug of war that is keeping each person from expanding into their highest. We'll say it like that. And so it's always a spiritual war. It's not dark and light. It's always gray. and we won't say always, but you get what we're trying to tease out. There is no other. So every conflict is something within us that we are trying to resolve. And in allowing ourselves to let go of the rope over and over and over and over, it helps everybody because we get less complicated. So grateful for that. And neutral is fine. You understand, neutral is fine. Neutral is so much progress. And when you can be content with neutral, you can be sure that more good can come. Because it doesn't have to be your way. And you see, we don't give up any autonomy in this equation. We are completely participating. And yet there is grace. Grace is that unimaginable energy that just comes in and makes it all flow right. We go, oh my God, whoa, that's grace. And that happens. But so we can't take total responsibility, but what we are learning to do is participate in flow itself. First, the flow of our own being, so that we are continuously letting go, letting go, letting go, allowing, allowing, allowing. Embracing gratitude with our breath. And then allowing something different to happen. Okay, meditate. Let's go. We've been doing it for a while, all of us. So let's just release into that. So take your attention inside. We'll be broadcasting. You're welcome to participate however you want. We will look directly into the camera, which we hope is looking directly into the part of you that can allow this, willingly allows this transmission from our highest to yours. Thank you so much for coming. We're delighted to be with you. Such a joy and a pleasure to share your company. Till next week or Wednesday night. So much love to you.